Welcome back, guys. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Others can join and then we'll begin our discussion. Okay, so now let's continue. So we're discussing about before the break, we're discussing about the SFC, how there should be some kind of criteria to appoint members for the SFC. Now, let me also tell you something, and you should know this. Whenever any body gives a recommendation in the form of, say, a report, so you must have seen that election commission submits online reports every year. The UPSC submits report, NHRC, NCW, NCM, right? Finance Commission. All these bodies submit reports to the president or the governor as and where they are. Okay. So now let me help you understand how these things actually function. So when we say that this is a report, let's say given by SFC. Since SFC, the State Finance Commission, is a constitutional body, it will submit its report to the governor, meaning the government. Now, the task of the governor is to table this report in the House. But the reports are not tabled directly. So, firstly, what is going to happen is this SFC has given some recommendations. Let's assume that these are the recommendations given by the State Finance Commission on steps that can be taken to enhance the functioning effectiveness of the panchayats. Now, what the government will be doing in this regard is that the government prepares its own report. Now, in this, what will happen? In this, government mentions, this is an attachment, a copy with the report. Government mentions this recommendation accepted. What are we doing? This recommendation accepted. What are we doing? This recommendation not accepted. Why? This recommendation accepted. What are we doing? This recommendation not accepted. Why? Not accepted. Why? Accepted. What are we doing? This kind of detailed analysis, right, on what actions have been taken, what actions are being taken, what actions will be taken, and also If I am not accepting a recommendation, what's the reason for not accepting a recommendation? Everything is attached to the original report. This is actually known as memorandum of action taken. Memorandum of action taken, or commonly called ATR. What is ATR? ATR stands for action taken report, that on certain situations, in certain cases, what action has been taken. This is what is there in the ATR, action taken report. Are we clear? So the second ARC says that the government should not delay the submission of ATR and SFC report in the legislature, submitted in the state legislature within 6 months. So just to point this out, there have been cases where the average delay has been 16 months. 16 months of delay in the government submitting these reports. One thing that you will also be surprised to know, just so far, how many finance commissions have been set up in the country at center? Since 1950, the mandate was to set up one finance commission every 5 years. 75 years, 15. All done in full synchronization with the 5-year uh, expectation from the center. Has it ever happened the center is not setting up a finance commission only? If the center does not set up a finance commission, states will start crying foul. Oh, what is happening? Where is democracy? Fastest government, centralized tendency, no federalism, states are being deprived of the rights. All this nonsense they'll sing. Let me tell you, from 1993, now let's understand this point. From 1992, to be more precise, SFC must be set up every 5 years. 92, 97, 2002, 7, 12, 17. A study was conducted in 2018. It was found that by 2018, every state should have constituted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 finance commissions, 6 SFCs. You will be surprised that only 4 states had set up the 6th finance commission: Bihar, Punjab, Rajasthan, Assam. 13 states. So the point is, most states have not constituted SFCs in time, or rather on time. 13 states were in the process of setting up their first, second, or third SFC in 30 years, right? I mean, not 30, but 25 years, let's say. Goa, Gujarat, Manipur, third SFC. Arunachal, second SFC. I mean, you have no interest in following a constitutional mandate of setting up an SFC every 5 years. And then the expectation that center should follow laws, but I will not follow the constitution. That's the sad story of the states. Then creating audit committees in each district. So audit committee's task will be to look into how the money is being spent by the concerned panchayats and then report on the same. Also, audits must be regular and plus regular audits. Now, one more thing. Ministry of Panchayati Raj has also said that every state should have their own website where they should upload their audits. plus MOPR submit audit reports online. Okay, that's it. Then now, just like we have the standing committees in the parliament, we have standing committees at the state level. Similarly, the idea being that the concept of standing committees, which means the committees comprising of the MPs at the parliament level, MLAs at the state level, they exist. So we want that there should be separate legislative standing committee for local bodies. For local bodies, there should be a separate legislative standing committee, just like we have the parliamentary standing committees. I hope you understand this point. DRSC on health, DRSC on education, DRSC on commerce, etc. Similarly, in every state, there should be a standing committee for local bodies. Creation of a standing committee. What is a standing committee? Tell me. What is a standing committee? Okay. Permanent. Committee which is permanent in nature is called a standing committee. Great. Then, now one more thing. We want to also create an organization, a body whose task will be to accept or look into any kind of complaint of maladministration, corruption, etc. against local body functionaries. So, create an ombudsman. What is an ombudsman? Ombudsman is like a watchdog. It is like Lokpal for panchayats. Creating a Lokpal for panchayats, where every individual living in that district can go and complain if their panchayat member, their sarpanch, is accepting bribes, etc. Right? Watchdog. Dinesh, what is Lokpal? See, Lokpal, you'll be studying this in the governance classes. This Lokpal is a body where you can complain against acts of corruption against the prime minister, all the ministers, MPs, and all the central government employees, right from group A to group D. That's a Lokpal. Okay. Now, then very simple, abolishing parallel programs and bodies. So whatever parallel programs are running, abolish them. Bodies, abolish them. And also comprehensive utilization of ICT. What is the meaning of ICT? Please tell me. Information and communication technology in data management and delivery of services. So using basically e-governance. And PRIs should be given a substantial share in the royalty from minerals collected by the state government. So whenever state government gives any approval for any kind of project in certain area, the corresponding panchayat should be given the some share of the royalty received by the state government also. So in a way, giving some more funds for the panchayat since it has had to suffer, right? Be it land acquisition, environmental concerns, etc. So some kind of compensation in that regard. Okay. Now some Panchi Commission recommendations. Panchi Commission firstly said that what is this two-tier structure? So Panchi Commission's logic was, now think of it, and it's a very interesting point that they raised. So Panchi Commission said, point number one, see, what's the purpose of district panchayat? Firstly, what's the purpose of a village panchayat? Gram panchayat. The gram panchayat's purpose is direct democracy, closer to people, right? Self governance. Fair enough. What's the purpose of district panchayat? District panchayat has a wider jurisdiction and focus is on developing the infrastructure at headquarter level. It has a large fund base, access to expertise. District collector is there, direct contact with the government is there. So it makes sense. The commission says, what intermediate panchayat? It serves no purpose. And in fact, its suggestion was that you replace three-tier structure with a two-tier structure and make intermediate panchayat completely optional for all the states. Not mandatory, but optional. Secondly, to incentivize performance of some elected functionaries and also providing time for developing expertise, etc. Providing time for expertise and experience in the role. The rotation of seats should happen after two terms, meaning 10 years, not 5 years. That's one concern, one suggestion. Then there should be a separate commission set up every 5 years, whose task should be to see the progress of devolution of these three F's. How far has the state government uh, been successful in ensuring that the mandate of panchayats is met? Meaning, how far have they been enthusiastic in devolving the funds, functions, and training functionaries every 5 years? Give a score. And one more thing, tell me what is this Article 82? Any idea? Tell me, innocent aspirants, please. Okay, very good, Aniket. One person only. Others, Google search. Very good, Google search. And find some keyword and mention the answer. So, delimitation commission. The procedure of delimitation is done under the provisions of Article 82. So, as of now, delimitation is done by an independent body, but that is only for what? Only for the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha. What the Panchi Commission said was Article 82 on delimitation should be modified to also cover what? The local bodies. Meaning, when it comes to the uh, delimitation, it should not be done by the state government, should be done by an independent commission. Just to mention this here, delimitation should be done by an independent commission. Clear? That's there. How does the last point affect panchayats? Delimitation. Remember the functions of delimitation. The function is to ensure that what? The function is to ensure that the boundaries are modified with changing population and to decide on the SC/ST reservation. So if the state government is given the task, they may manipulate the boundaries, plus they will find the excuse on reservation and will delay the election, right? So this is there. Remember I told the story of CR Chikkamat, Karnataka example, same thing. Lastly, just a point for you to uh, use for your answers. Aim of Ministry of Panchayati Raj at Amrit Kal, right? So the Amrit Kal, what's the aim? And one more thing. Recently, the government has come with a very interesting concept. The Ministry of Panchayati Raj, to be exact, MOPR is the Ministry of Panchayati Raj. It has come up with a concept. Now they are looking for the creation of something called Panchayat Development Index. Panchayat Development Index. And what's this? So basically, the idea is that they will now the center will progress. Oh, sorry, center will assess the progress of Panchayati Raj institutions. Center will assess the progress of Panchayati Raj institutions. And Anshika, did you join the session right now? Suddenly in the evening? Of course. Anyway, the point is that we have a platform to type any kind of message, and we have full right to type anything that we feel like, right? Just because this is an online platform, don't think it's YouTube that any comment will be okay, right? The decorum needs to be maintained. It's very, very important. This is not some YouTube platform that you type and you run away. There is no anonymity here. We know what you type, how you type, who type, no, not how you type, but who types, everything. So maintain the decency of this platform. Okay? Now, as I said, Panchayat Development Index, meaning what? All these state governments, what steps are they taking to assess the progress of the local self government? Not just the PRIs, but also municipalities. Let's write LSG, local self government. And based on that, and especially along those 9 themes, so not generally, but along 9 themes, those same 9 themes of village friendly panchayats, women friendly panchayats, water efficient panchayats, etc. And based on those 9 themes, they'll create a grading score. So scores will be given from, of course, 0 to 100 and 5 grades. What grades? Topmost, A plus, 90 and above, A plus. Then 75 to 90 will get A. Next is 60 to 70, 60 to 75. This will be B. Then 40 to 60 is C. And then lastly, we have less than 40, that is below 40, is D. So 5 grades will be given. And I mean, as of now, there is no announcement on what is the benefit. If let's say you get this very good grade, right? And suddenly you come under A category, what exactly is the benefit, that we don't know. But at least it would create a sense of positive competition across the country amongst the panchayats. Maybe some kind of monetary compensation or monetary incentive can be provided. That's very much possible. Anyway, the best incentive for panchayats is monetary incentive only. So these points, 5 here, and 5 here. You can mug up these points to incorporate them in your introduction, conclusion, etc. Because one question from panchayats will be asked in the examination. Are we clear? It is mandatory. Think of it as mandatory. So, first things first, vibrant Gram Sabha to realize the dreams of Gram Swaraj. So basically, we want to make more and more people aware of the importance of Gram Sabha, come to Gram Sabha meetings, take part in Gram Sabha meetings, right? Uh, Also, discuss real issues in Gram Sabha meetings. So some of you would know who have ever attended a Gram Sabha meeting that sometimes the meetings are completely devoid of real issues. People bring their personal issues in a Gram Sabha meeting. That this person is throwing garbage in my house. That person's cattle has, uh, destroyed my crops. This is not a Gram Nyalay, Gram Sabha. So here discuss developmental problems. And also, then you must be seeing on all these meetings, people wait in the meetings. There'll be some free food, free samosa, free chai, free idli, and they keep on sitting there for 2 3 4 hours, right? And if the food and tea comes, they don't understand it is coming from the budget of the panchayat only. So your money is being given to you in the form of tea. So these things need to be, told to people. More awareness. Then adequate devolution of the three Fs. Same old story. Then provision of panchayat secretariat, gram sachivalaya, just like you have the secretariat of the state government, secretariat of the central government. So we also need a panchayat office, secretariat meaning an office, administrative office, where all the paperwork is being taken care of. Then ensuring financial instruments to the panchayats like market borrowing. So panchayats can also and should also be allowed to explore market borrowing, something which is along the lines of some municipalities. Bonds. So I'm not sure if you are aware of this concept called bonds. Bonds are basically debt instruments. So if I want to raise money from the market, what will I do? I can go to the bank, take a loan, or else I can ask my friends for money, or else what I can do is sell bonds. So bond would be something like this. I give you a piece of paper. On this paper I write 105. I tell you, take this piece of paper, give me 100 rupees right now. You please give me 100 rupees, come back after 1 year, show me the paper or give me the paper, I'll give you back 105 rupees. So basically you have earned 5 rupees or 5% interest on the money, which is called bond yield. So this is called a bond. It's one way to raise money in the from the market. More on this in your economics classes. Then strengthening of the statutory standing committees of Gram Panchayat. So just like you have the standing committees in the parliament, standing committees in the assemblies. Similarly, in the Gram level also, you have standing committees. There are various standing committees at the Gram level also, right? So and their names, what are their names like? So you have some standing committee for finance, standing committee for development, standing committee for welfare. So these are the three standing committees that are there at the Gram Panchayat level. Clear? Standing committee for finance, the task would be to deal with subjects of finance, tax, accounts, audit, budget, general administration, etc. Then the standing committee on development, they deal with subjects of what? Developmental planning, socio-economic planning, spatial planning, agriculture, soil conservation, soil forestry, animal husbandry, minor irrigation, fisheries, all these things. And then the third committee, the Standing Committee for Welfare, shall deal with the subjects of development of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, women, children, social welfare in general, public health, public sanitation, education, art and culture, all such things. So we have to strengthen these statutory standing committees. These committees are on finance, committees are on welfare, and S. Oh, a small error on my part. This small error, guys. SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, not SGD, SDG. My bad. Typing mistake, typo. Okay. Moving on. Next, bridging the rural-urban divide. So as of now, the quality of life in the rural areas and the urban areas are slightly different in terms of not just internet and all other things as well. So we have to bridge that gap, right? Improve the quality of life in the urban area, in the rural areas also. Then master spatial plans, spatial from the word space, space, area, region. Plans for gram panchayats, clearly demarcating areas for agriculture, residents, markets, parks. So there should be proper planning in the villages also. That there should be an area where you have land. Then you have an area where people reside. Then you have markets, parks, everything demarcated areas clearly, right, along the lines of planned cities. Then adequate own source of revenue. We have to ensure that the panchayats get their own revenue as much as possible. Try to generate their own revenue through taxation, raising money, so that the dependence on the center and the state comes down. Then effective disaster management plan for gram panchayats. So there should be proper disaster management plan in place on what steps can be taken if such things happen, where to go, what to do, how to save yourself. Proper training should be done for all the gram sabha people also. And lastly, energy empowerment. Basically, the idea of rural what, electrification, with special focus on what, renewable energy generation. So these are, I mean, nothing but you can mug up some of these points and write them as intro or conclusion in your answers. That is just fodder. We say this is the fodder material, nothing much. That's it. Solve this question now. Came in 2015. Let's see how many of you are able to mark the answer. Read the question and understand the intent of the question and then mark your answer. Don't jump to marking the answer. That would be my advice. Okay, some of you chose D, but let me tell you an important piece of information also. The if you are ever asked what's the principal idea behind panchayats. Why do we have panchayats? Just two reasons. People's participation and democratic decentralization. Everything else is just an added benefit. Okay, perceived added benefit. But this is a principal idea behind panchayats. Clear? So, people's participation and democratic decentralization. See, financial mobilization is something that was not thought. The panchayats, to free themselves from the clutches of the state and central government's manipulation, should try to raise their own revenue, make themselves free. But that was not the principal idea. Point one. Point two, political accountability was not a concern. People are governing themselves, let them govern themselves. So later on, these elements have now come into picture. Okay, these are later elements, but these two are the principal idea, the essence of having local self government. Meaning, C 1 and 3 only. Are we clear, everyone? Now let's move on to municipalities. Parshuram, BDO, no, not really. Not really. That is not required. You have separate audit officers to perform that task. Now coming to municipalities. In fact, the very famous statement made with respect to the British viceroys, also governor generals, whatever you call them, depending on when. The very famous Lord Ripon, known as the father of local self government in India. Remember, in 1882, he had released a document which is called the Magna Carta on the local self government in the urban areas. Very, very popular document. And of course, a very popular British employee in India as well, right? Now, in our country, we started with urban municipalities only, not panchayats. If you want to trace the originality of these local self-governing bodies, the first thing we had was municipality, and the first ever municipality was set up in Madras province way back in 1687. First one. Then followed setting up of these municipal corporations in Bombay and Calcutta, 1726. Okay, so we have started with municipalities only. Panchayats is a recent phenomena. Now, couple of things. So, as per 2011 census, that's what we know as of now. The distribution of rural and urban, 68.8%, 31.2%, almost 83.3 crore people living in rural areas, and the remaining 37.7 crores living in urban areas. Population of 121 crores, 2011 census. Now, don't think that since urban areas have lesser population compared to rural areas, their control or their contribution to the country's GDP is less. No, 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 no. Urban areas, despite lesser population, contribute more. Their contribution to GDP is roughly 63%. currently. In future, that means by 2030, this will become 75%, right? In fact, not just this, National Commission on Population also suggests that around 38 to 40% people will start living in urban areas in the next 10 to 15 years. That means roughly by 2036, roughly by 2036, you will find around 38 to 40% people living in urban areas. This means two things. Number one, urban areas have to be the center of attention now. Number two, you have to come up with infrastructural development at a very fast pace in urban areas, right? For that, along with the panchayat provisions, but the 74th Amendment Act, panchayats are through the 73rd, municipalities 74th. 74th Amendment Act, same year, 1992, we added one more part called Part 9A. Part 9 is panchayats, Part 9A is municipalities, and some articles were added. Article 243P, QRST till Z, then ZA, ZB, ZC, ZD, so on and so forth till ZG. And also, we added one Schedule 12. What is Schedule 12? Schedule 12 contains 18 topics on which municipalities can be given powers and functions. Just like Schedule 11, which contains how many topics? 29 topics on which panchayats can be allowed to make laws. Okay, just on a side note, quick revision of all the schedules we have studied so far. Please tell me, what is Schedule 2? Fast. Don't waste time. What is Schedule 2? Okay, salaries. Salaries and allowances of certain officials. What is Schedule 3? Tell me. Okay, Schedule 3 is oath. Great. Oath and affirmations. What is Schedule 4? Schedule 4. Allocation of seats to the Council of States, Rajya Sabha. Then what is Schedule 7? What is Schedule 7? Lists. Okay. Then what is Schedule 10? Anti-defection law. Then now Schedule 11, 29 topics for panchayats to make laws. And Schedule 12 is what? 18 topics for municipalities to make laws. Okay, that's it. Now, the provision of panchayats with respect to municipalities, uh, they are almost the same. Why almost the same? Because similar provisions. Why? Because you will see that they have the same SEC, same state election commissioner. Number two, same SFC, finance commission, same audit mechanism. So primarily these important functionaries and bodies are the same. Reservation also. Here also you have reservation. Both chairpersons and members. And amongst members. But one point. For members, reservation is for what? SCs, STs, and also women. For SC ST, based on population. Okay, for women, how much? At least one third. Clear? So nice, great, amazing, excellent. But it is slightly different for chairpersons. For chairpersons, SCs and STs or women, how many seats are reserved? That the respective state legislature by law will decide. So unlike in the case of panchayats, where one third seats are reserved for women at the chairperson or the member level, here in municipalities the reservation of SC/ST based on population and for women at least one third is only for members. At the chairperson level, how many seats will be reserved, that the respective state governments will decide, or the state legislature will pass a law and decide. Please remember this point, keep this in mind. It is very important. It's a differentiating factor. So please don't get confused. Clear? That's it. Now, coming to categories of municipalities. So, one more thing. When it comes to panchayats, just answer yes or no. Panchayats are arranged in a hierarchy. Statement is panchayats are arranged in hierarchy. Yes, they are arranged in hierarchy because very simple. In every district at the top, you have the district panchayat. That district panchayat below it and under it, it has several intermediate panchayats. And under these intermediate panchayats, you have the gram panchayats. So, of course, there is a hierarchy, right? But the same kind of hierarchy is not there in the municipalities, meaning the municipal council is not inside corporation, like the gram panchayat is inside the block panchayat is inside the district. That's not there in the case of municipalities. These three types of governments are in different areas only. So here the concept is, think of it like this. Let's draw here. Somewhat like this. So this would be a municipal council. This would be a Nagar Panchayat. Yes, you heard me right. It is a Nagar Panchayat. Despite being an urban area, we are still using the term Panchayat. And the larger areas have what we know as the municipal corporation. So municipal corporation is for a larger urban area, big cities, etc. In total, we have how many? 206 such areas or such bodies. Then for a smaller tier 2 kind of towns, we have municipal council. roughly around 16 to 1700. So see, I am giving you exact numbers, but there is no need to show off the exact number. No special marks, right? So right around over 1500 is also correct. No problem. Then Nagar Panchayats. What are these Nagar Panchayats? Nagar also, city, Panchayat also. So these are those areas which are transitional areas, transitioning from rural to urban. Okay, those areas which are transitioning. So in your bigger cities, especially on the outskirts of those cities, which used to be very small villages, have now transitioned with new shops, malls, industrial areas, societies coming up, transitioning into an urban area. So it has now stopped being a rural area, it has now become an urban area, upcoming urban area. So we have around how many? 2400 plus green. Around 2400 plus Nagar Panchayats. Clear? And one more thing, which area will be a corporation, which area will be a council, which area will be a Nagar Panchayat? Who decides? Governor decides. Meaning, of course, the government. Based on what? Based on things like population, based on things like density of population, based on the economic importance of the area, based on uh, how many people are employed in non-agri activities. Things like this. Percentage of people employed in non-agricultural activities. All such things. Based on these kind of factors. Bhavi, full discretion. No, no, no discretion. Governor has no discretion on this. Again, go back to your slides. The discretionary powers, those only. This is on the advice of state chief minister. So the CM decides. Now, we have seen the structure of the panchayats. What is the structure of municipalities? The corporation, council, etc. It's the same structure. I'll explain the structure first. You look at the structure first. So your state has these urban areas. Think of this as your city. Now this city is divided into small parts. This urban area is divided into small parts. We will call these parts as ward. Okay, ward. And all the people of this area, all the people of this area, they will vote to choose a ward member. You can call this person a corporator, councillor. It's a ward councillor, ward corporator. Again, local governance is a stateless topic. Names can keep on changing. That's of no concern to us. Now think of this. So this is the body which is all the members from here are a part of a body called mayor in council. This is the body called mayor in council. task of this body. So this body comprises of all these people who come from these various areas. I hope this point is clear. I don't need to draw everything now. So this body comprises of ward members who are directly elected by people and chaired by the chairperson, who is normally referred to as the mayor. Right? And now the big question, how is the mayor elected? So, mayor is elected by people or indirectly? Tell me, tell me, how is a mayor elected? Directly or indirectly? Again, both of you are correct. Those who are saying direct are also correct, indirect are also correct. Because the election of the mayor state legislature by law decides the manner of election, which means it can be direct, people vote, or it can be indirect also. Various in one state also you will find it sometimes in some places mayors are elected indirectly, in some directly. So a lot of these states, MP, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, Odisha, UP, I think recently Bihar passed a law to directly elect mayors. So in all these states, mayors are elected directly. In some states, elected indirectly. This is that legislative body that we talk about. Voted by and chosen by people. Legislative body. Clear? Yes, Krishna. Absolutely correct. Now, look at this city planning as a concept. Cities, urban areas, lot of technicalities, drainage system, right? Water, uh, power, building placements. We have to have greenery as well, tree plantation, right? It's a very complicated setting up industries. There should be proper mechanism to have schools, hospitals, etc. So, city planning, urban planning requires expertise, high level expertise. So for that, there is a standing committee. This standing committee comprises of experts. Experts. These experts are chosen by the government. Okay? Nominated by the government. So this committee gives inputs, suggestions, provide suggestions on how to improve upon the functioning or how to better administer the city, what steps can be taken to improve the urban administration. Clear? Now, think of this. Every legislative body needs an executive body to implement the plans. Yes or no? So, here, what is that executive body? That executive body is the municipal commissioner. This is that executive body whose task is to implement the suggestions, recommendations of the mayor in council. This comprises of an IAS officer. Let's write not IAS, let's write a municipal commissioner. Municipal commissioner who is an IAS, plus we have the other administrative staff. Okay, so the task is, and this is now the executive body. So the point here is, now think of this situation. This legislative body gives recommendations on plans and programs to the executive body, gives recommendations. Do you find anything weird in this statement? Gives recommendations. Parliament gives recommendations to government to make law. Is it so? Does the parliament give recommendations? Tell me, to the government? Of course not. Parliament is a people's body, and why will it give recommendations? It has a sole authority. Sadly, our administrative setup in the municipalities is not this. The mayor and council is just a legislative and deliberative body. This body has no power. The ultimate power lies with the municipal commissioner's office. You, the IAS officer, you have the real power. Okay? So they just give recommendations. It's not binding on you. Clear? Happy, right? Motivation for you today. Today there was no motivation. Now the motivation has come. That if you become an IAS officer, some of you who don't become district magistrates and all, you become municipal commissioner. Full authority, right? And this is a very nice post. I mean, of course, you know very well. For some of you, nice means you know what, but sorry. Anyway, for some of you, nice would mean serving the country, of course. So the point is that when it comes to nice, I mean to say that this post provides lot of scope for developing expertise in city administration, because now you're not just taking care of the basic general administration, but you are actually involved in the planning of cities. That's a very important and crucial area, right? Anyway, so this is the pattern of administration which is there. uh, Gaurav, these experts are people chosen by the government of their own free will. They can be some MPs also, sorry, MLAs also, right? They can be some MLAs also. They can be your friend, family members also. No criteria of experts is mentioned. Clear? This pattern is actually not a very democratic pattern. This is an aristocratic pattern. But sadly, since the Britishers made it, they wanted all the control in the hands of ICS, the Indian Civil Services. The officer, Indian outwards, but British inside, right? Brown outside, white inside. That's what they wanted. That is why when the Britishers left, in the Constituent Assembly, there's a huge discussion going on. Should we actually even have all India services? These ICS officers, these IP, Indian Police. So at that point of time, we only had two services, ICS and IP. So the big debate was, should we even have these kind of services? These people are nothing but foreigners. They are the ones who have constantly been protecting the British interests. We don't need them. It was only because of the untiring efforts of one person, one man alone, Sardar Patel. He convinced the entire assembly that no, no, these are very important people. In fact, he used the British argument only in India now. So, Britishers, uh, see, civil servants. Winston Churchill said that civil servants are neither civil nor servants. And Nehru said that Indian civil servants are neither civil nor servants and don't dare to call them Indian. That was the animosity. But Britishers supported ICS. Why? Lloyd George, one UK PM, had given this idea called steel frame. He called it the steel frame logic. That these officers, brown outside, white inside, Indian in appearance only, and Britishers inside, they will be hired by us, placed everywhere, and ensure that the country is controlled by the steel frame, bound and responds to only Britishers, British needs, steel frame. Patel used the same logic. He said, see, what are all these Indian ICS officers? We will have our own civil servants, all India services, IES, IPS, people who will be trained by us, hired by us, placed all across the country in the most sensitive positions, who will help us get up to date with the ground realities, will ultimately owe loyalty to us, and will also bind the country, this highly diverse country, in one steel frame. That's the steel frame argument, right? Though, let me just clarify. I meant this steel frame. Don't think I am mentioning this steel frame. What steel frame bureaucracy is, it's best left for you to decide. I am telling this steel frame, not this steel frame. Are we clear? So, you know better which steel is the correct meaning of the steel frame. In fact, to tell you, when finally the assembly agreed that okay, let's have civil servants, then across the country, people used to write articles. How suddenly we have changed, backtracked on the year-old promises that we hate the civil servants. There's this poet called Josh Malihabadi. He wrote this long poem. One line was that he made a sarcasm on how the Constituent Assembly had accepted civil servants as a very integral part of country's development. So he said that shaitan ek raat mein insan ban gaye. Devils have become humans overnight. That you used to hate these people and suddenly you said the country needs it. Anyway, so this is a system where the civil servants have most power. Coming back now. But in some parts of the country, like say Havra, West Bengal, there in West Bengal, it's the exact opposite. There, the mayor and council can give binding instruction to the municipal commissioner to perform activities. It's in very few parts in West Bengal. But all across the country, we follow this pattern only. It is popularly called the Bombay pattern of administration or the commissionerate pattern of administration. Why called Bombay pattern? because the real power lies in the hands of the municipal commissioner, hence the Bombay pattern, because it started in Bombay and also called a commissionerate pattern. Okay, anyway, I hope it's all clear, no doubts, no issues, no concerns. Yes, Parshuram. Yes, Pradeep. Correct statement. Parshad, Mayor. All okay so far? Should we take a break or should we continue? What do you say? Then that will be a last break for today. Let's take a break. No worries. Okay, take a break. Yes, Gaurav, way more powerful. Come on, way more powerful, especially in a municipal corporation. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take a break. Be back at 7 and go have your nice tea. Come back and we'll continue our discussion further on the municipalities, their issues, concerns, and then we'll also look into some suggestions. Okay, break, please, guys. Okay, let's continue. Now, coming to the concept of bodies under part 9a. So we have been discussing about part 9 panchayats, part 9a municipalities, and in both part 9 and 9a you'd have observed that we have these bodies for self governance, right? So under part 9 we had the three tier structure: GP, IP, DP, district panchayats. Under part 9a we have corporations, councils, and nagar panchayat. But apart from that, there is also one more body under part 9a. These bodies are bodies for planning. Article 243 ZD, the DPC, District Planning Committee. Article 243 ZE, Metropolitan Planning Committee. So these are bodies for planning. So nothing special here. DPC. So what is DPC? DPC is a body made only at the level of municipalities, not under panchayats. These bodies are have been created under the 74th Amendment Act. Let's not forget. And they are under part 9A. Not part 9, but part 9A. And what are these bodies? DPC. What's the task of DPC? Task of DPC is very simple. Prepare plans. That's it. One task only: preparing a draft development plan for the district as a whole. Draft development plan. And once the plan has been developed, submit report. Now, if I ask you, a constitutional body, a statutory body, submits its report to whom? Every statutory body submits its report to which person? The president or the governor, wherever the body is formed, right? This is a constitutional body. This body is under Article 243 ZD, a constitutional body. But this body submits report not to the governor, to the government of the state. Very strange, maybe an oversight, possibly, but that's what is mentioned in the constitution. This body submits report to the government of the state, not to the governor. What kind of plans? Example: plans on spatial planning, how to plan the urban area, then on the issue of water sharing, then on the issue of environmental conservation, then on infrastructural development, then physical and natural resources, etc. On all these things, the plans are prepared. Now, this DPC comprises of two types of people. One, those who are elected; other, those who are nominated. 4/5 people of the DPC are elected by and from amongst the what? Number one, members of Zilla Parishad, sorry, district panchayat, let's use that, and members of municipalities. Are we clear? From amongst themselves, 4/5 people are chosen. Remaining 1/5 people, they are nominated by the government. So these people are experts who are nominated. That's there. Clear on this? This is with respect to the DPC. Are you clear? That's it. Similarly, a body is there, MPC. MPC has exact same functions, not a point of difference. Article 243 ZE, here they also prepare the same development plan, also the same old story, spatial planning, water conservation, infrastructure development, physical and natural resources, etc. But here a small point of difference would be this MPC, 2/3 people of MPC are again elected by and from amongst what? The elected members of municipalities and chairpersons of panchayats. That's a point of difference. Members of municipalities and chairpersons of panchayat. And remaining 1/3, as we know, are experts and other provisions similar to DPC, District Planning Committee. Clear? No, Nikhil, there is no mandate here. It is not some recommendation of a body which needs to be followed. It is just a draft development plan. So the report of this need not be submitted to the House. Not required. That's it. We are done with the municipalities. Now we'll look into some of the problems of urban administration, and then we'll discuss on the issues, how to solve those issues. But before that, please solve a couple of very easy questions. Let's see. Mark your answer, please. Oh, poll. Azhar. Oh, okay. Great, Azhar. Thank you so much. As you know, MPC is constituted under the provisions of the Constitution, absolutely correct. Prepares a draft development plan, absolutely correct. As I said, that's a sole responsibility of the MPC. And what is that? To prepare draft development plan. Now, has the sole responsibility of implementing? Nonsense, utter nonsense. They don't have any such power to implement government sponsored schemes, and that to the sole responsibility. And what will the bureaucrats do? Right? So 3 is wrong. A is the right answer. Solve one more question, please. Okay. The Constitution's 73rd Amendment Act aims at promoting Panchayati Raj. Of course, we know it. This provides for which of the following? Constitution of DPC. This is wrong actually, because DPCs are formed under the 74th Amendment Act, not the 73rd. If you remove one, you get the answer. SEC, SFC. Absolutely correct. Now, coming to the problems of urban administration, see, some of the problems are common. For example, corruption, massive corruption, excessive government control, the very poor delegation of 3Fs, inadequate capacity building. So, these are those common problems. But then, one unique problem to urban areas is this unplanned, haphazard, random kind of urbanization. Our cities were never planned, most of them. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that in some of these states, they did not even take steps to create an urban affairs ministry. Some states formed an urban ministry in as late as 2000s. The focus was simply not there on improving the uh, urban administration. So, what can be a problem with unplanned and haphazard urbanization? So, it can result in various issues like rise of slums, then if you have rise of slums, then power shortage, water shortage, then we have this issue of traffic congestion, all issues that people face in urban areas. Pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, right? Also, we face a problem of a crippled infrastructure. Too many people now depend on limited resources. Hospitals are full, schools are full. So we call this the infrastructure gets completely crippled. So these are some of the problems. Rising levels of crime, etc. Right? Aniket, refugee camps in urban areas. No, that's not because of urbanization, but that has a different logic only. Gaurav, similar kind of salaries, nothing very special or drastic. It's the same kind of salaries which are there. Then, some other issues. Absence of an urban way of life, which is a very surprising thing to say. If you think of it, are cities where people live comprising of the elite, educated, more aware sections of society. That's a belief that in urban areas, you have people who are more educated, who are more literate. So, despite higher literacy, what has been observed is that people may not be really aware in the same manner as people in the rural areas are aware about their rights, about the government's policies, programs, etc. To give an example, uh, uh, whenever you have all these elections that take place in the country, all these newswalas will jump and go and conduct interviews, asking people. Nowadays, you have YouTube news channels also. So they'll ask people interviews on what's your opinion, what do you want from this new government if it comes to power, etc. What do you want the politician to promise? In the Lok Sabha election, in the Vidhan Sabha election, people make all these statements. What we want if the government comes into power is better roads, drains should be clean, right? In my colony, the street lights don't work. I mean, we should ask these people that do you even understand whose responsibility is it? These issues are the responsibility of the municipal corporation. Did you even approach your ward councillor? I mean, forget approach. Do you even vote to choose your ward member? That's why they won't vote. Now, Narendra Modi or the CM of any state will not come and solve all these problems. And that is where the lack of awareness reflects. And because of which the municipal corporations are at full advantage. They are under no pressure to perform because in most cases people don't have the understanding that it's their responsibility, right? So despite higher literacy, lower levels of awareness, which results in what? No pressure on the municipalities to perform. People don't have any expectation from you. That's the best case scenario. No expectations, right? So that's there. Then, if I ask this class here, right? If I ask this class here, uh, can you name five prime ministers? Of course, you can name five prime ministers. Some of you can name all the prime ministers. If I ask you name five chief ministers, you all can name five chief ministers. In your state only, you can name two, three chief ministers who have been there in the last 10, 15 years. But if I ask you, forget five, name the current mayor of your city. Some of you may have a problem. Some of you. Forget 5, 10 mayors. I am asking you to name the mayor of your own city. Very few would know. Why? Why is it so? Because, and that's not your fault. The fault is the mayor's because he or she has been completely unable to provide quality leadership in the city. Because mayor's post is not something that they themselves view as a politician's post. It is just a stepping stone to higher levels in politics. So what I'll do is I get the mayor's post, etc. Now I will try to capture the attention of some party bosses, get the MLA ticket, MP ticket, this minister, that minister, chief minister, prime minister. That's my target. My target is never to provide a proper administration to the city. Higher levels in politics. So there is nothing wrong in growth, but the point is it should not come at the cost of a current job role. That's there. And of course, existence of parallel bodies is there, just like in the case of rural areas. In fact, urban areas are institutional jungles. So many bodies with overlapping functions, overlapping responsibilities, and we, respond to it with a very interesting old story anecdote, where you must have heard of this story also. That once the king asks all his subjects, the people, to fill the pond, the state's pond, the kingdom's pond, with a vessel of water, milk. And everybody goes and pours a vessel of water, thinking others are pouring in milk. Next morning, king wakes up and sees the entire pond filled with water only. That's the problem. If you have overlapping functions, responsibilities being shared, then everybody will think somebody will manage this task. It's okay. And nobody manages the task. And also, politically, the focus is still on rural areas. Vote bank. Politicians work for vote bank. In rural areas, people are vote bank. Also, uh, to think of it, when it comes to the 74th Amendment Act, lot of critics also say that what exactly is the 74th Amendment Act? It's nothing but the same panchayat dish, just garnished with municipal sauce. No special effort has gone into preparing the programs, the provisions, keeping in mind the amelioration of citizens in these areas. No, no, no. It's just the same provisions thrown here, and some garnishing has been done, some municipal sauce has been added, right? Some terms thrown here and there. So nothing unique has gone into the thinking of our makers who made the provisions to the 74th Amendment Act. Because the focus, and you can actually follow this with very simple example. Look at the number of committees that have been created to recommend the improvement in functioning of panchayats. Dozens and dozens. You can see it in your books also. But how many committees have been created in our country to focus on the functioning of municipalities? You can literally count them on fingers. That's how less has been the focus of the governments on urban areas. That's it. Now, some second ARC recommendations pertaining to how to improve the functioning effectiveness of the municipalities. First up, back in 1985, we had the setting up of the first National Commission on Urbanization. The first one, 1985, was the time when this was set up, right? It's been now, it'll be almost 40 years now. We need to set up one more commission on urbanization to give proper pointers on what steps can be taken when we are, looking to make more urban cities. People are moving out of rural areas, coming to urban areas in search of jobs, better opportunities, better way of life. So we have to have planned cities now. In our country, cities have just grown. No planning has gone into it. Look at all the traffic jams, star pattern of roads. So, barring a few cities, most of the cities have just gone and increased their size, enveloping the neighboring areas and becoming a larger city with no proper planning. At least now, the tier 2 towns, etc., which are the upcoming bigger cities, they should be planned properly, right? Then, members of MPC and DPC should be appointed by the SEC. So MPC, DPC largely are seen as completely useless bodies. The Metropolitan Planning Committee, the District Planning Committee, the Article 243 ZD and ZE, these two committees. And that's a concern. Their reports are neither taken seriously. In fact, in some states, you'll be surprised. DPC is non functional, MPC is non functional. I mean, this is a constitutional obligation to have a DPC, MPC. Non functional, defunct completely. Not a single meeting in the last 10 years. That's been the situation we are referring to. Then, municipality should also be given additional functions like school education, public health, traffic management. And one more suggestion is to ensure that people take the post of mayor seriously, and also the mayor commands more authority. The mayor's election should be done directly by the people. Then we have to also undertake comprehensive property tax reform. See, maybe not in the urban areas, but in the rural areas, one very important element with respect to which money can be generated is a property tax. Because the price of property in urban areas is something I'm sure you're all aware of. If you look at the ads also, 5, 10, 15, 20 crores, 30 crores. You see in news items, celebs purchasing a 5 BHK, 4 BHK for 50 crores in Bombay, 70 crores, right? It's like some kind of auction for some kilograms of diamond happening between some princes of Dubai. That's what is happening. Now, think of it. Let's take an example. I'm sure all of you must have heard or been a party to it. Let's say there's a 2 BHK flat, which the selling price is quoted at 1 crore rupees. Now, when it comes to the registration, let's say the tax on it is 10%. Let's assume it's very high, but let's assume for simple calculation. So, you have to pay 10 lakh rupees to the municipal corporation for registration of this property. This money goes to the municipal corporation. Yes, sir. BHK, bedroom, hall, kitchen. Ignore BHK. There is some flat. My bad. I wrote BHK. Ignore it. Forget it. Just a flat. Place to live. House. Okay? Something of this sort. BHK is bedroom, hall, kitchen. No problem. Now, 10 lakh rupees is the tax you have to pay, which goes directly into the municipal corporation's account, which can be used to provide better services to us in the form of roads, street lights, trees being planted, clean drains, right? Now, what do? We approach the builder. We tell the builder, listen, Mr. Builder, let's do one thing. Why don't we, on paper, write it as 60 lakhs? 40 lakhs, I'll pay you in cash. Black money. Now what happens? 60 lakhs is a purchasing price. 10% of it is 6 lakhs. You have used up your corruption money also. You have saved on 4 lakh rupees of tax also. Lesser money for the municipal corporation. And then we'll cry, oh, services are not being given properly. Are we leading a life devoid of corruption completely? Is that what is happening? If no, then being a crybaby will not help. And think of it, when the property is getting registered, look at the officer sitting there in the registrar's office. I mean, if in a particular society, in a locality, all flats are being sold at a rate of 1 crore, suddenly a flat comes being sold at 60 lakhs. Don't you think the officer, there should be some red flags there? Why? Are you his best friend, the builders, or what? But no, you grease the palm of the officer there. It's all ignored. No problem. So we have to also undertake comprehensive property tax reforms to look into this issue that such evasion of tax does not take place in the country. Then Now, in our country, there is something called professional tax. Every person who is employed in any profession and is in the category of income taxpayer in most cases, right? Involved in any profession, the state government can charge something called a professional tax. Now, this is mentioned under Article 276, and you'll be surprised to know that the professional tax has an upper limit, maximum rupees 2500 per year, not more than that. So anybody here who is a working professional, you can see your salary slip. You'll find that maybe 200 per month, or 600 every quarter, or one time 2500, or twice every year. It depends how it is deducted. That thing varies, but you cannot cross more than 2500 per year. That's not possible. And this amount was last reviewed in 1988. Okay, 1988, from 500, the 60th Amendment Act. It's high time now. Increase this amount. In fact, second ARC says increase the amount, enhance the upper limit, upper ceiling. 14th Finance Commission said that increase to at least 12,000 per year. That should be done. Okay, that's it. Then one more thing, how to generate more revenue, more resources. Enhancing fines for civic offenses. Civic meaning jumping the signal, spitting on the road, etc. Not wearing a helmet, these kind of offenses. So, this seems to be a nice idea, but there's a problem with this idea. There's a break even point. You know, if let's say the fine for not wearing a helmet is, let's assume, 100 rupees. Let's assume that. If 100 rupees is a fine, then everybody becomes a true patriot, nationalist. I will not pay the any kind of bribe. You want fine? Take these fines. Okay. Number one. If the fine increases to 1,000 rupees, maybe some people, some of you may say it's better to pay a bribe than to pay the full fine. But if you increase the fine to 10,000 rupees, then patriotism dies its natural death immediately. It's better to bribe with 500 than to pay 10,000 rupees fine. So at some point of time, you will find that the fine collection rate comes down and corruption increases. So we cannot enhance the fines too much also. That's there. Okay. So you must have seen especially every quarter, sometimes when you are using a road and you travel every day, no police at any point of time. Suddenly, one fine day, you are going on the same road, and out from the bushes jumps a policeman, takes your key, and now runs away. Now you keep on chasing him, that sir, key please, key please. Had this happened to you in those roads? Suddenly policemen start patrolling the area. Basically, police also has a target, a target to meet on fine collection. Are we clear? So that's there. Karan, these fines are for our security or revenue? No, no, both security and revenue. Okay, so they have to meet a target. That is why uh, if everybody starts behaving properly, there will be a loss of revenue for the government, though that's what we want. But sadly, that is not what is happening. Okay, Nikhil ran away with second key. Oh, great. So we have an advice also from one aspirant that in such cases have an alternative key and run away with that. Great. Get the photograph clicked in the camera and fine challan at your house. Difficult to escape from the challan, right? These days, there is no escaping the challan. Sanchit, second ARC full for. Sanchit, sir, what are you doing, sir? Second ARC full form. Administrative Reforms Commission. Since you may have joined right now, we're discussing this in the panchayats also. Administrative Reforms Commission. Okay. Then municipality should also be encouraged to access the capital markets through instruments such as bonds. Bonds can be used, as I explained earlier also in the panchayats only. And various municipalities now are raising bonds. Example, Ahmedabad, Surat, Bhopal, recently Lucknow, Pune, Hyderabad, etc. Various cities, municipal corporations are raising money through these bonds. Indore, yes, Jayant, absolutely correct, right? Then some of the bigger municipalities can also be encouraged to run some kind of a service enterprise. For example, in Bombay, you have the best best bus service. It is not best in terms of quality. That's something I'm not sure of. Best has a full form. Brihan Mumbai Electric Supply and Transport. That's what is best. Okay. So these are some of the steps that can be taken, that can be incorporated to further enhance the effectiveness, the functioning of the what? Municipal corporations. Now, in your book Lakshmikant, you will find chapter 39 dealing with all these things: corporation, municipality, area committee. Not important. My advice is simply ignore it. No question has been asked from this. Like say cantonment board, it is under defense ministry, so please ignore it. Not a single question has been asked from it. Just ignore. Okay. Now, just a couple of pointers to summarize. The 15th Finance Commission gave recommendations on funding the panchayats, and the government, good news for you, has accepted it. In fact, now the government has said that we'll be devolving 4.36 lakh crore rupees to the panchayats. Yes, you heard me right. 4.36 lakh crore rupees to panchayats. These grants are from 2021 to 2026. Of course, this is with respect to both panchayats and municipalities. So, for the rural and the urban areas, and a good thing, just an observation. So, I found that there the expenditure on health 70,000 crores has been devolved towards expenditure on health. Sanchit, now if you ask such things, joining late in the class and asking full form of FC, LSG, it is not justified, right? Either you join from the morning. Anyway, FC stands for Finance Commission, LSG stands for Local Self Government. Vijay, explain what this means. I don't understand it. Then, now one more thing. 70,000 crore rupees on health is being spent. Yeah, one more thing here. This 4.36 lakh crore rupees over the course of next 5 years, it's in the ratio almost, not exactly, almost 1 is to 2. Meaning for rural, roughly 67%, and for urban, it's roughly 33%. That's the ratio, 1 is to 2. Now, for the Panchayati, before Sanchit, Panchayati Raj institution, PRIs, for PRIs and municipalities, whatever funds you get, 60% funds will be spent on things like improving the drinking water supply, improving the sanitation, rainwater harvesting, etc. 40% funds are now untied. That's a very huge amount. 40% funds are untied, meaning not attached to any scheme, free, completely free for the municipalities to spend on their own. That's a very big amount. Then, for municipal corporations, 50 of them, 50 million plus cities. What are million plus cities? Cities with population more than 1 million. What is 1 million? Tell me. Let's see how aware you are of basic things. What is 1 million? Any idea? 1 million means 10 lakh, not 10 crore, just 10 lakh. So all those cities with over 10 lakh population, top 50 have been chosen, and there you have to focus also on improving the air quality, right? Achieving the ambient air quality based on the identifiable parameters, and remaining two-third will be on national priority. Same thing. National priorities like rainwater harvesting, drinking water, sanitation, etc. So some scope is there for the PRIs and municipalities to focus on these and also untied funds, whereas for the bigger cities, the real concern or problem is the air quality also. So we have to spend some money there as well. Then, what is the criteria for devolution? It's population and also geographical area. 90% focus is on devolution weighted average and 10% on geographical area. Now, one more point. This time, since the central government has said that we are going to give you 40% funds which are untied, free, based on your personal local aspirations. So it means that it's very important now to ensure proper audits are being done, right? So mandatory publishing of audit report in public domain, linking grant to the availability of audit report. Linking grants to the availability of audit reports. So audit reports will be made available. If not, you will not be given the next, you will not be given the next tranche of funds. So if this year the funds have been released, say 2021-22, fund released at the end of 2022, please publish the audit report online or newspaper, what, we don't care, public domain. If you don't publish it, the next year funds will not be released. That's a very important step, right? So this is there with respect to the mandatory publishing. And let me just tell you, we have seen such kind of recommendations earlier also, but there has always been shortfall in the release of funds. So actually, just a point here, actual amount released in the past or disbursed in the past has always fallen short. So roughly for the PRIs, the Panchayati Raj institutions, it has fallen short by 5 to 18%, sometimes as high as 18%. And for what are ULBs? Tell me, ULB, urban local bodies, ULBs. This has fallen short of roughly 10 to 18%. Let's hope this does not happen this time and funds come. In fact, if you look at the total devolution, say back to how far back can we go? The 2006-7 to 2013-14, those finance commissions, the 12th Finance Commission, 13th Finance Commission. In the 12th Finance Commission, 2006-7, the money, the allocation per capita per year was 54 rupees. Just to tell you this, in the 12th Finance Commission, allocation per capita per year per annum, rupees 54, just around 20 years back, right? In the 15th Finance Commission, this allocation has increased now to how much? 674 per capita per year. In the 13th Finance Commission, it increased to I think 176, somewhat in this zone only. In the 14th, it was 488, huge jump, and again increased to 674. So we have seen a drastic increase in the last 20 years in the at least allocation of funds. That's it. Okay, that's it. We are done. Now, before we end our discussion, summary on what exactly is the importance, the significance of panchayats. Very simple, very easy to understand. See, panchayats are the bedrock of democracy, the base of democracy. People say it's the best school of democracy, not just panchayats, the local self governance. Best school of democracy. It's where people actually learn the importance of self governance, importance of voting, importance of choosing your leader. And at least for the gram sabha at the panchayat, that is a gram sabha, it also reflects somewhat the concept of direct democracy, right? Then it's a more capable form of government due to the due to local interest. It's your area, you have more interest in its growth, in its development, local knowledge. So because of this, it's a more efficient and more capable form of government. It's also more economical level of government. How? Because of availability of cheaper human resource, cheaper availability of other resources. Not just this, not just this. There is also this constant uh, vigilance, sustained vigilance. See, you may not be able to keep a close watch on the performance of functions of your MP, MLA, minister, etc. But Gram Panchayat member, he stays near you only. You can very easily keep a very close watch on what and hows of what he's doing. Very important to have scrutiny of behavior over these people, the elected representatives. At least we can do it for the panchayats, if not for MPs, MLAs. Then, as Nehru also said, that the system of government at the top, it can never be successful until and unless it is built on a very strong foundation below. So the idea is that if your lower level of governance is very, very efficient, then it also reduces the burden on the higher levels to perform, because now the things are perfectly aligned at the lower level. I know whatever I devolve, when it goes to the lower levels, it will reach the right beneficiary, right use of resources, efficient use of resources. Why? Because at the lower level, the base, things are perfectly aligned. Trained staff, proper functioning, equitable distribution of resources, inclusive governance, all these things are there. Then, see, in most cases, bureaucracy is an outsider. If not in your in other state, in your state only. People from other districts may be posted in some other district. Outsiders. So outsiders may not be aware of the local needs, local aspirations, local objectives, local issues, etc. Who will let them know? As a district collector from Kerala, you go to Haryana. Who will let you know what exactly are the concerns plaguing the people at that level? These people only. The elected members of the panchayats, the gram panchayat, the block panchayat, the zilla parishad, they are the people who will keep you abreast with all the information on what exactly do people want, the link between people and the government. Then if local self governance becomes effective, then only does decentralization, devolving all the powers, make sense. Otherwise, if the local self government is completely inefficient and corrupt, you keep on devolving power and functions, keep on devolving money, either it will go waste or it will end up lining pocket of rich and elite people, creating a further divide between rich and poor, widening the gap. And of course, at the local level, they are in a better position to understand, recognize, and also tap, make full use of local talent, local resources. Otherwise, they may get wasted, they may get neglected, ignored. So, these are all the importance, the significance of local self governance in the country. Clear? So, that is there. Now, the point that you have to remember is we have covered every possible ground. And what is very important to understand is that anything beyond the slides is very difficult to ask, very, very challenging to frame a question beyond this. You have covered multiple points from multiple angles, all the issues. Please mug up all these points. Just mug up all these points. Only update yourself with any new information, schemes, programs, etc. And you will not miss a question on panchayats or municipalities. This is my guarantee to you. But the point is, mug up the information and update yourself with current affairs. Look at a question asked in 2020. The strength and sustenance of local institutions in India has shifted from their earlier formative phase of three F's: functions, functionaries, and funds, to the contemporary stage of functionality. Use value. Highlight the critical challenges faced by local institutions in terms of their functionality. Challenges. Mention all those issues except three F's. Mention every issue. Organization structure is poor, the social environment is not conducive. We have the proxy candidates. The bureaucratic vision is not there. The will is not there. Senior party leaders dominate. The use of money power, use of muscle power. There is rampant corruption. Mention every other point except three F's. Don't mention functions, functionaries, and funds, because they say beyond that, what else? And when you mention the uh, problems, please also in the conclusion suggestions. Without suggestions, your answer makes no sense. One question asked in 2019: the reservation of seats for women in the institutions of local self government has had a limited impact on the patriarchal character of the Indian political process. Comment. So, we have seen that what are the issues plaguing uh, women's development. Despite the fact that we have made reservation for women, still we are yet to see that translate at higher levels in politics, right? Again, mention all the patriarchal issues that women still face and how to make improvements through education, through strict laws, enforcing laws. But ultimately, it's all about spreading awareness amongst people, and also the fact that keeping a check on the proxy candidates, etc. These are points that can be incorporated. Are we clear? Will we take a step to write answers for these questions? Aniket, yes, Aniket, absolutely fair to put statements like massive corruption. Deepa, devolution, giving, providing. Deepa, there is no NCRT only. What will you read? Okay, what else? Any doubt? Anuranjan, sir, is administrative and judicial power decentralized after 73rd? No, no, no. Administrative and judicial power has been separated through CRPC 1973, not through this. Decentralization of the power has happened through this 73rd, but separation of judicial is done through CRPC 73. Dinesh, see, preventing corruption, again, that's a thing you'll discuss in your governance classes on how to target selectively corruption by, by strengthening laws, strict enforcement of punishment, developing a culture of corruption reporting, right? Strong whistleblower laws, giving the power to the CVC and Lokpal to give permission for sanction, sufficient staff in the CBI for investigations. Then also with respect to setting up CCTV cameras in the workplace, right? Gender neutral workforce, hot list, uh, these hotlines for corruption reporting. So these are steps that you will discuss in your governance classes. Yes, Shilpa, of course. Find a balance there. Anuranjan, sir, are special districts? Not really. These are general governmental programs. So, in case you want to give an example of these, it can. But largely, they would be linked to the good governance strategy, not here. Are we clear on this? And before we leave, please, political theory, revise the entire book now. For those preparing for 2024, read the monthly magazine. For everybody, please read Yojana and Kurukshetra at least for the month of June now. PPTs have to be revised. Take the test. Write the PYQs. Read the editorials on a daily basis. Please follow this. Okay. Deepa, what have done of fine collection? Fine? Fine collection. All the fines are given to government. Government uses the fine as a resource, spending money on us only. Great, Pradeep. It's okay, guys. No worries. Slow and steady wins the race, Deepa. We'll slowly and steadily start revising more and more. The more you revise, 8, 10, 15 times, the better you get at the topic. That's it. In summary, Sudeep, I have no idea on this optional course. You'll have to talk to the mentors. When you call your mentors, you should call with the registered number and you'll get help. Okay? I think that would be the more appropriate way to approach because I'm not really sure of the recordings or live classes for that. Okay, guys, let's meet in the next week, next Saturday, with more interesting topics. This time we'll be discussing on the very, very interesting topic of judiciary. We'll cover a lot of ground on judicial activism, the collegium system, etc. Right? Hajira 2024 monthly magazine, June. Please read the entire, no, not entire, of course. At least try to read 50, 60 pages of the magazine of the month of June. Okay? That is all for me for today, guys. Let's meet in the next week. Jai Hind. Thank you, Satish.